They say every mother knows her child, but what if your child was born with scales instead of skin? What if the tiny hands you dreamed of holding were replaced with coils that could crush stone? What if the lullabies you prized were answered not with coos, but with hisses that made grown men flee? This is the story of Amora, a woman whose greatest blessing became her darkest curse. A woman who held a serpent to her breast and called it my son. A woman whose love would be tested in ways that would break the strongest among us. But here's what they don't tell you in the tales whispered around fires: the snake was not the curse. The curse was far, far deeper. And what happened next? It will change everything you think you know about sacrifice, about motherhood, and about the thin line between monster and miracle. My people, settle in. Pour your palm wine, gather your children close but not too close, and prepare yourself. Because this story will haunt your dreams and warm your heart in equal measure. Her name was Amora. And this is the day her life changed forever. In the village of Humans, where the river sang and the palm trees danced with every breeze, there lived a woman named Amora. She was the kind of woman other women envied, not out of spite, but out of admiration. Her skin glowed like polished mahogany. Her laugh could make the saddest man smile. And her husband, Obi, loved her with a devotion that made even the elders nod in approval. But there was one shadow in Amora's perfect life. One prayer that went unanswered year after year after year. No child. 7 harvests had come and gone since their wedding day. 7 times the moon had grown full and empty again. 7 years of whispers behind her back, of pitying glances from women with babies strapped to their backs, of her mother-in-law's increasingly cold stares. Perhaps she is barren, the women whispered at the market. Perhaps the gods are punishing her for some hidden sin, the men muttered at the palm wine bar. Even Obi's family began to pressure him. Take another wife, his mother urged. A man needs children. A man needs sons. But Obi refused. Amora is enough for me, he would say, though Amora could see the sadness in his eyes when children ran past their compound. One morning, after another moon had come and gone without the blessing she prayed for, Amora made a decision. She would visit Mama Nneka, the oldest woman in the village, the one they called She Who Speaks with Spirits. Mama Nneka's hut sat at the edge of the village, where the forest began to swallow the light. It was a place children dared each other to approach but never did. A place where smoke seemed to rise even when no fire was lit. Amora's hands trembled as she knocked on the wooden frame of the doorway. Come in, child, a voice crackled from within, though Amora had not yet announced herself. I have been expecting you. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of herbs and burning incense. Mama Nneka sat on a low stool, her eyes milky with age but somehow seeing everything. Everything. You want a child, the old woman said. Not a question. A statement. Yes, Mama, Amora whispered, falling to her knees. I will do anything. Anything. The old woman's face remained still as stone. Anything is a dangerous word, child. I don't care. My husband's family mocks me. The village treats me like I am cursed. I need a child, Mama. I need to be a mother. Mama Nneka closed her eyes and began to rock back and forth, humming a tune that seemed older than the village itself. Then, suddenly, her eyes snapped open. There is a way, she said slowly. But the path is treacherous. The gods will grant your wish, but gifts from the spirit world always come with a price. What price? Amora asked, her heart pounding. That, I cannot see. The spirits hide it from me. But know this: once you speak the prayer I give you, there is no turning back. The child that comes to you will be your destiny, whatever form it takes. Amora hesitated for only a heartbeat. Tell me the prayer. And so Mama Nneka did. She taught Amora ancient words in a language that predated their people. She instructed her to go to the sacred river at midnight during the new moon. To bring 7 cowrie shells, white chalk, and a drop of her own blood. Offer this to Idemalai, the river goddess, Mama Neka warned. And pray for a child. But remember, child, be careful what you wish for. That night, while Obi slept, Amara crept from their bed and made her way to the river. The forest was alive with sounds, crickets, night birds, and something else, something that seemed to watch her from the shadows. At the riverbank, she knelt and performed the ritual as instructed. She placed the cowrie shells in a circle. She marked her forehead with white chalk. And with a sharp piece of bamboo, she pricked her finger and let 3 drops of blood fall into the water. Then she spoke the ancient prayer. The river responded. The water began to glow with an otherworldly light. The air grew cold despite the warm night. And for a moment, just a moment, Amara swore she saw a woman's face in the water. A beautiful, terrible face with eyes that held the weight of centuries. A voice spoke, though no lips moved, "Your prayer is heard, daughter of Imons. You shall bear a child. But remember, all children are blessings, no matter how they appear. Love what is given, or lose everything." Before Amara could respond, the light vanished. The river returned to normal. And she was alone in the darkness. 3 months later, Amara woke with familiar nausea. Her breasts were tender. Her body felt different. She was pregnant. The joy in her household was unlike anything she had ever experienced. Obi lifted her in his arms and spun her around. His mother, for the first time in years, smiled at her. The village women who had whispered behind her back now came with gifts and blessings. "Finally," they said. "Finally, the gods have answered." But as the months passed, Amara began to have strange dreams. Dreams of serpents. Dreams of something coiling inside her, not with legs and arms, but with something else. She told herself it was just anxiety. Just the nervousness of a first-time mother. She told herself this even when the baby's movements felt different. Even when the midwives examined her and frowned, saying, "The child moves in strange ways." She told herself this right up until the day of the birth. The labor came suddenly, in the middle of the night. Amora's screams woke the entire compound. Obi ran to fetch the midwives while his mother tried to comfort her. But something was wrong. "It's too cold," one midwife whispered to another. "Her belly is cold to the touch. And the movements, they are not right." For hours, Amara labored. The pain was unlike anything the midwives had ever witnessed. And when the moment finally came, the room fell silent. What emerged was not the crying pink baby they expected. It was a serpent. A snake, as long as a man's arm, with scales that shimmered green and gold in the lamplight. The midwife screamed and scrambled backward. Obi's mother fainted. Even the experienced head midwife, who had delivered hundreds of babies, stood frozen in horror. But Amara reached for her child. "Give him to me," she whispered, her voice hoarse from screaming. "Are you mad?" one of the midwives shrieked. "That is a demon,"